Mr. Bakshi, in fact, for the layman, can you also explain to our viewers, since you know in technical detail exactly what happened, you spoke of how the pilot maneuvered the chopper in such a way that a major disaster was averted even though he risked injury to himself. Can you explain to our viewers in layman terms exactly what the pilot would have done to ensure that this landing was halfway safe and the passengers were unhurt?
When the aircraft is coming into land, and there is an engine failure. Engine failure means the rotation of the rotor is affected and the aircraft does not have any more lift. When the aircraft does not have a lift, the pilot executes auto rotation, means now he dives the helicopter down, and with that downward speed the rotors rotate, and the rotation of the rotator gives them the enough lift to absorb the emergency touchdown. That is what the pilots are taught to carry out an emergency landing when the helicopter engine fails. And this was most probably that case, though until and unless the inquiry tells us what happened, you cannot make out. I have just now heard Captain Ravinder Singh of the pilot of the helicopter, who has escaped unhurt along with everybody, and he says because he could execute a soft approach, only it was a harsh touchdown because of uneven ground and skid. That is why it happened.
Commander Bakshi, in fact, it would also be interesting to find out what the history of this chopper was, because unfortunately technical snags are surfacing in helicopters being used to ferry VVIPs have become dangerously frequent.
That is why that cannot be ruled out, and because if the DGCA does not have enough infrastructure to keep and monitor these private helicopter owners and private airlines, then these disasters will keep happening. Yes, if you put me on the inquiry or anybody's on the inquiry, you can make out that there are shortages, there are shortcomings on the helipad. Probably there was no technical man available, probably there was no fire tender available when the VVIP is landing. Even when the VVIP is not landing and the normal people are landing, there has to be safety procedures followed. Whether the standard of safety procedures at DGCA are below normal or not has to be investigated and found out.
Absolutely. In fact, the shortcomings are glaring, Commander Bakshi. You can see some vehicles within inches of the helipad, and auto rickshaw seems to be ambling along. It's shameful, but just stay with us, Commander Bakshi, for a minute. Asaram Bapu, who was in that chopper, whose images you're seeing on your screens right now, it seems terribly scary, but Asaram Bapu himself escaped unhurt from this accident. In fact, we're hoping to get a reaction from Asaram Bapu also in a while. But your thoughts, Commander Bakshi, on the sort of glaring shortcomings we can see in this helipad and the preparations that have been made for the landing?
Yes, there are shortcomings, there is no doubt about it, but these must be routine shortcomings because nobody seems to be bothered or nobody seems to be monitoring it. That is a shortcoming, a general shortcoming with the civil aviation in India, because it is not being monitored and supervised by professionals. I repeat, by professionals. They like to put the bureaucrats and all these people who have no clue about aviation into these positions, and that is why you face these problems.
And the problem also perhaps lies in the fact that air traffic has become so thick that the number of VIPs who take to choppers to travel from one place to the other, that they simply cannot cope up with the basic SOPs that have to be put in place, Air Marshal Bakshi.
I can understand.
विज्ञान पर मैं कई बात बोल चुका हूँ कि इतना जब होने से जन्म कुंडली का फलाना घर बदल जाता है, अरे होता है। वो मेरे बोलने को भगवान ने आज साकार कर दिया। पुराना 20 साल पुराना हेलीकॉप्टर और पायलट भी समझदार था, फिर भी हेलीकॉप्टर का जो भी कुछ हुआ, लेकिन हेलीकॉप्टर के 3 टुकड़े हो जाने तो ऊपर से गिरे और सब के सब तना कर रहे हैं। भगवान की